What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik of the Fight Guys and also a Forbes contributor. And I want to talk about Errol Spence versus Shawn Porter. The fight was just broke, and basically the news about the fight was just broken. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but everyone with any real credibility in the industry is pretty much confirming that this is a done deal. What we know about the fight so far right now is that Errol Spence's IBF welterweight title will be on the line, and Shawn Porter's WBC title will be on the line. So it is a unification bout. Is going to take place on September 28th, which is a conflict for your boy because that is my wedding anniversary, and I might have to be in the doghouse for this particular. It's year 17, so I think she might be all right. I'm just kidding. At any rate, it's going to take place in the Staples Center, which is really becoming a very awesome venue for boxing matches, especially on the West Coast. I would say outside of obviously Vegas, it is the next best place to have a major boxing event. So that's pretty exciting. And it also is going to be on Fox pay-per-view, which would mean basically after Pacquiao Thurman takes place on July 20th, you're turning around just a little over 2 months later and having another Fox pay-per-view boxing match. I don't think anybody thought that might be happening, even at the beginning of 2019, to see two Fox pay-per-view events so close together. But that's exactly what's happening. Now, I have called Thurman Pacquiao the biggest fight of the summer, or biggest fight of 2019, and I still believe that for the reasons that I stated in that particular video. But this one is pretty much number two at this point. There's a lot on the line, obviously. As I said, it is a unification bout. The winner of this fight should be set up to face the winner of the Thurman Pacquiao fight in early 2020, which will be a huge fight, because essentially what it'll do is unify 3/4 of the welterweight title, and it'll basically be premier boxing champions, and Al Heyman has sway or is managing the welterweight champion with 3 titles, and the only other legitimate world champion in the welterweight division will be with Top Rank, and that's Terrence Crawford, who has the WBO title, and that's assuming obviously he doesn't get upset sometime, between now and the end of the year. Based off of the opponents that he has access to over there with Top Rank, I can't imagine him losing unless he just gets bored in the ring. But at any rate, my first reaction, I'm not going to give like a prediction yet for Errol Spence, Shawn Porter. I'm going to give it a little bit of time. I have a first reaction to the signing of this fight. I think that Shawn Porter represents the toughest competition that Errol Spence will have faced. And let me just make sure that I put that in a proper perspective, because a lot of y'all might be saying, how in the world is it the best opposition that he faced? Errol Spence beat Kell Brook. Kell Brook beat Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter's not a better fighter than Mikey Garcia. Well, a lot of this has to do with timing and matchups and other situations. So I'm going to attack that Mikey Garcia argument first. First and foremost, Mikey Garcia was fighting 2 weight classes up from where he should ever be fighting. Fighting at 147. He should never be fighting at the most above 140, but we all know he's at his best at 135. So that was really not the true Mikey Garcia, in my opinion. Yes, the skills were there, but just way too small. Didn't have the ability, I feel, to really hurt Errol Spence. So I don't think that was a very difficult fight for Spence at all. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Spence. I'm just calling it as I see it. As far as the Kell Brook fight, that's how he won the IBF title. But I know people who were present during the weigh-in for that fight, and will tell you point blank, Kell Brook was completely compromised at the weigh-in. He really had no business trying to make 147 anymore. He had outgrown the weight division. And then on top of that, it came after he had already taken on Gennady Golovkin, gotten his eye socket broken. I think that was the first time he'd had that eye injury. And honestly, what I felt, and I felt like this the whole time, from the beginning when Kell Brook took that fight, I thought it was extremely risky because I knew that it was the kind of loss that if he lost that fight, especially if he got stopped, it could change his career. And in my opinion, that's exactly what it did. The fight with Golovkin took place in September 2016. He took what is it, 8 months off, came back and fought Errol Spence in May of 2017 and got stopped in that fight. He's fought only twice since then, none this year. And the two fights that he had last year against Sergey Rabchenko and Michael Zarafa, obviously we're not talking about elite level fighters at that point. So I don't think Kell Brook's ever been the same after the Golovkin fight, and I don't think that he can be his best, whatever that is, at 147 pounds, which he hasn't fought there since he lost, since the fight against Spence. I think he's done with that division. I think that's the fight when we found out for sure that he was done with that division. So I know it seems like I'm picking apart Errol Spence's resume, but to me, those are his two biggest wins. And it's not that I don't think Errol Spence is a great fighter. He is a great fighter. And you know, my early indication is to say that I think he probably beats Shawn Porter. And as a matter of fact, I think he should beat Shawn Porter. But the reason I say Shawn Porter is his toughest fight is because he is the first world champion level legitimate welterweight that he will be facing who is fighting in his weight class, fighting at or close or near his prime, who is not coming in compromised under any circumstances, who's coming in prepared. He's known that he's going to fight Spence for a while. The fight was originally scheduled in August, but according to Mike Coppinger of The Athletic, Spence wanted to push it back to September. He wanted it to be a pay-per-view, which I'm quite sure the fact that Canelo canceled his date for September 14th helped Al Heyman and PBC and Fox say, yes, let's go ahead and do a pay-per-view, because a lot of times the promoters and the networks don't want to go with two pay-per-views in the same month, because the second pay-per-view in that month or within the 30-day time period usually is the one that suffers, with people not wanting to fork over for two different pay-per-views in a short period of time. So with Canelo bowing out of that date, I'm quite sure it encouraged, Fox and PBC to say, go ahead with this pay-per-view, which of course for Errol Spence likely leads to a bigger payday. This is a big fight. It is a big fight. It's a big fight because of who both of the guys are, and it's a big fight because of what could be next for both fighters. So I can't wait to see it. Like I said, it's on my anniversary, so I got to work something out, but I will be there watching it if possible. Now, you know how I might be able to really work this out? I might be able to work this out as a anniversary workcation kind of thing. I might have to go to work on that right now. But in the meantime, I want y'all to hit up that like button right now. Also, if you have not yet subscribed, make sure you do that. And if you haven't clicked that notification bell, you need to do that. We are coming hard here at the Fight Guys, working on doing a regular podcast that we'll have on the channel that will also spawn out these separate segments. And also, we're going to keep it coming with the interviews with the top fighters in the world. So hope you guys are enjoying the content. Like I said, if you are, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and click the notifications bell. And in the comment section, let me know what your first thought is about Spence Porter. What do you think? Where do you think it ranks as far as the fights this year so far that we know about? I appreciate you watching as always. God bless and peace.